I'm here with Mr. LeTroy Gardner. He's the owner of GOB Radio Network, and he's the host of Stop, Look, and Listen. Man, I want to thank you so much for allowing me to come up here to interview you today. And it's been a few weeks before we were able to get together, but thank you so much for allowing me to come up here to interview you. So for the viewers out there that don't really know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from?
All right. Well, thank you, Joe, for the invitation. I'm looking forward to this conversation. I'm LeTroy Gardner. I'm from Beaufort, South Carolina, 843 representing, St. Helena Island, Winthrop University, class of '04, Mass Comm Broadcasting, and I'm currently the co-founder of the GOB Radio Network, also the creator of Stop, Look, and Listen and the Good Old Boys radio show.
Okay.
I've been doing Stop, Look, and Listen since the pandemic started, which was like May of 2020, and the Good Old Boys since 2009, right around the time when President Obama was inaugurated.
Can you tell us a little bit more about GOB Radio?
Okay, so back in college, my senior year at Winthrop University, I came up with a show called The Good Old Boys, and myself, along with Mario Washington and Kimberly Shaw, we pretty much built it from the ground up. It was a show where the three of us were doing sketch comedy, included music, and we got together at WINR Radio, Winthrop's radio station, and did it for my final semester at Winthrop. Then, fast forward like 5 years in late 2008, an idea was pitched to us to, do another radio show to promote Octavius Burris's website for old school music. So the conversation was had between myself and Mario to bring back the Good Old Boys radio show, but change the cast of characters a little bit. So we added Quentin Gore and Wafiq Zarif, and it was the four of us. Right. And then we sort of changed the formatting of the show. Right. So it became more of like a male version of The View, where we would have a topic. It could be relationship based. It could be related to current events, whatever popped in my head or Mario's head. Right. And then we would have music that would relate to the topic, sort of like a soundtrack to whatever we're discussing. And that's when I started booking interviews. Right. So the first guest interview we had was Crystal Waters, house music legend. Right. And then the second guest was Garfield Bright from Shy, which ironically, I just had him on Stop, Look, and Listen yesterday. Wow. And, we've been going from there, booking interviews. We had a period where we were syndicated internationally. So I would go through the process of reaching out to these stations globally, and they would put our show on their stations. Wow. Yeah. And you're a graduate of Winthrop University, you said? Yes. Okay. Yes. And in Mass Comm major? Broadcasting. Wow. So what does it take to get into that type of field? Obviously college, but if someone wanted to do what you're doing right now, what does it take for someone to try to do what you're doing? So I actually got my start in high school. I interned at the local television station in my hometown of Beaufort, South Carolina, WJWJ-TV. So I think it's important to, learn from an industry professional. So at WJWJ, I was pretty much tagging behind industry veteran Juan Singleton. I've had him on Stop, Look, and Listen as well. And when he would cover basketball or football games, I was there carrying equipment, setting up cameras, filming the 6 o'clock newscast. I would work the cameras. I would follow him to the editing bay, just sort of shadow him for the most part. Right. Then once I got to Winthrop, my primary focus was television, but I fell in love with the radio, and it was more my niche, I felt. Right. But I feel like it's important for up and comers to still get that experience within a TV station, radio station. Right. But also build your own brand. So because it's easy to do that, whether it's on social media, doing your own podcast, blogging. I think having all of those tools in your belt is an advantage because it's a very competitive field.
Exactly. And going through you training under this person and going through Winthrop, were there any people out there before you started your GOB radio? Were there any people that you faced any adversity where people were telling you couldn't do this or you couldn't do that? And if they did, what motivated you to succeed with it?
Honestly, I welcome the naysayers. I mean, that's just more fuel to my fire. I think you're always going to have people that think they know more about your journey than you do when they're really speaking to the lack of drive that they have within themselves.
Exactly.
I mean, even to this day with the success of GOB Radio Network, I bump into people all the time that think that I should be a librarian full time because that's where I've been working for 16, 17 years. But I only use that as a vehicle for stability and to get my college loans forgiven. So once my college loans are forgiven, I'm going full throttle into my passion.
Right.
Stability is nice, but you only live once. I'm not here to punch the clock. I'm here to leave a legacy.
Exactly.
And I think it's important to have naysayers. I like to let people talk, let them say whatever they want to say because I'm going to make a mental note of it. And then once I continue to ascend and then they come to me expecting me to help them out, then I'll just be like, nah, I'm kind of tied up right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I love the negativity.
Exactly. And it's interesting you say what you said about it because kind of like what you said a little while ago, most of those people are not doing anything themselves anyway, and they want to see you fail.
Right.
They want to see you not succeed in your journey because they're not doing anything anyway.
A lot of people want to take shortcuts.
Exactly.
And due to that, they can't imagine someone building something from the ground up. Like, they don't know how many times I've been told no. Like, trying to book interviews, it's probably like a 25 to 30% success rate.
Absolutely.
I'll get ignored. I'll have people that are wasting my time, but I'm going to keep going because I know tomorrow's going to be better. Like Nipsey Hussle said with the marathon, you're not going to come in and have instant gratification.
Right.
There's going to be pitfalls, but tomorrow will be better and the next day might be even better.
Absolutely.
So just keep on pushing.
Exactly. You can't give up. And that's the purpose of my show is the success stories of business owners such as yourself. And the information that you're giving obviously going to help a lot of people, motivate them to get off the couch, get off their butt, to start their business, not listen to the naysayers, get out there and do what you want to do. Do your dream, follow your passion, follow your path. And you're giving out a lot of great information to help people with that.
I have words that I live by, Joe. Everyone's entitled to an opinion, and I'm entitled to not care about it. So, you can tell me what you think, but at the end of the day, I'm going to bet on myself every time.
Absolutely. And you may have mentioned this a little earlier and I may not have caught it, but how did the idea for your business come about?
Now, that's probably more of a Mario question because even when we were at Winthrop, he pretty much had the vision of building a radio conglomerate under the vein of Wu-Tang Clan. Yeah. Because that's his favorite group. It's probably like my second or third favorite group. But he always had this vision of like being RZA and then bringing along a whole bunch of talent and, building an empire. And we all, become successful and pass down to future generations. So that's more so Mario's vision. And I'll share this story as far as how me and him crossed paths at Winthrop University. My cousin, Roger Coakley, who was also a student, was doing a paper, and he went into the Royal Palace, Mario's show that he did with Thomas Geddes and Brian Platts, So he was just in there taking notes, and then he was going to do an interview with them. And I was listening because I'm sure you remember with Winthrop, back in the day, their radio station was on the TV.
Yeah.
So I was watching a blank screen, listening to all of the amazing East Coast hip hop that I love.
Right.
That I didn't know anyone at Winthrop was really into as well. And he came back to the room because we were roommates at the time. And he was like, dude, that's you. You definitely need to go check them out.
Right.
So I would go to their show like 2 or 3 months straight, never really saying a word because I'm an observant person. I don't have to, make my presence felt vocally. I can just sit in the cut,
right,
get a feel for people and, get a read on whether I want to deal with the person or not.
Right.
And then we just started talking. It was like, you play NBA Live? And I was like, yeah, I play NBA Live on PlayStation. And we would just play and, just start bouncing ideas off each other.
Wow.
And I started a show the next semester called The Dungeon, a hip hop show.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. And you touched on it a little bit earlier as far as when we were talking about the naysayers and how much they don't know what it took for you to get where you are now.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that, to help someone kind of know what it's going to take, how many hours a week or on average or a couple of weeks or a day did it take you and when you first started your business?
I think about it nonstop. A secret, which I'm not sure if it's only for me. I create in my sleep more than anything because that's when no one can bother you, is when you're sleeping. And if something sticks by the time I wake up, then I'm going to use it. I came up with Stop, Look, and Listen in my sleep. I came up with the good old boys at the library when I was working at Dagus Library at the time.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think creativity has a set time. Mm-hmm. Like I work at UNC Chapel Hill and they want to have all of these committees. To me, meetings is kryptonite to a creator. Creators don't have a schedule. We create whenever it pops in our head.
Exactly.
So I think you have to really have this drive to want to succeed. Mm-hmm. Giving up nights where the friends are out partying and you're staying in the apartment.
Yep.
I did that for about 4 years when we first brought the good old boys back.
Right.
I was in Chapel Hill in my room, creating playlists, coming up with show topics, booking interviews while everybody else was, having their fun on a Friday night or Saturday night. Yep. Then a couple weekends a month traveling to Charlotte from Chapel Hill to record with the fellas, spending the entire Saturday recording 4 or 5 episodes of the good old boys.
Right.
And then sometimes using my last $100 in my pocket to eat, to stay in a hotel, to buy equipment, to spend money on business cards. So there's a lot of sacrifices. People just think, because I make a suggestion to you, I'm entitled to ownership. No, it's a whole lot that goes into running a business.
Yep.
Beyond just coming up with a suggestion.
Yeah.
What, do you want $10 for that? I mean, that's nothing. I come up with ideas every day.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot that goes into the process.
Absolutely. And you hit on one of the things I obviously I knew you probably were going to kind of bring out was the sacrifice. Even with my business, there's a lot of times I want to be out at Carowinds or on a trip, on a cruise or something with my daughter or someone, but I can't do that if I'm planning to grow,
Right.
And I can't stay in one spot with the expectation of growing. You got to move. You got to do stuff. You got to make sacrifices. A lot of people don't understand that. So I'm glad that you brought that up.
It's an endless sacrifice. This has been 13 years of blood, sweat, and tears, and we're finally in a position to capitalize on it.
Absolutely.
So to those that are willing to put in the work, I commend you. I will offer whatever advice necessary. But like I said, it's about believing in yourself. Absolutely. Bet on yourself. Absolutely. Don't let anyone else deter you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you'll end up living their dream
Right.
versus yours. What's been your greatest accomplishment in business?
Greatest accomplishment, I would say making it this far, the longevity part of it. I mean, because if someone was to say, hey, what was your favorite interview? I couldn't think of it because, I mean, they're all special to me. It's like having kids. They're all special for a reason. I think it's all part of, making this show an established brand, or this company an established brand.
Right.
Is that I thank everyone that has played a part, whether it's being part of an interview, whether it's like Jerry Midas Hardison coming up with the theme song for the Good Old Boys, or whether it was some of the people that aired our show on their stations, or just those that shared the link to one of our shows on social media.
Right.
I think all of that shows that the work, the time that I was sitting in the apartment, bedroom, alone, or some of my life experiences that I turned into a show,
right?
It wasn't done in vain.
Right. Absolutely. I love the spirit that you bring to my show, man. You got that energy, you got that drive, you got that push. But I'm curious, where did you get your entrepreneurial spirit from? Were your parents entrepreneurs, or where does your entrepreneurial spirit come from?
So not my parents, but like my grandfather, uncle, legalized hustling, legalized. So even as a kid, like my grandfather, I mean, he was like a chef for the Marines on Parris Island. And my uncle worked for the city of Beaufort, digging grave sites for the National Cemetery. But they also had their own produce stand. Right. And like my grandfather, after retiring, he just continued to accumulate land, purchase tractors, and like their produce business has grown exponentially. Right. So as a kid, I would follow my grandfather. Like he's my idol. Like never learned how to read, but he has a lot of good karma out there. You're good to people, then it'll come back to you tenfold. So I would follow him, and he would go wash trucks on weekends for Coburg milk. And I was there helping him wash the trucks. He'd give me $20. And every time I would come home to South Carolina, even from here, the first place I stopped is to the fruit stand to help him out. Right. So I'm sitting there, people are asking like, hey, you just came from North Carolina? Yep. I work at UNC Chapel Hill, or I own this GOB radio network. But being around him and selling fruits and vegetables, it humbles you. Right. Like it keeps me pushing. So I'll never get too big or feel like I'm too important, for the people that help me along the way. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And obviously my show is about success, and I want to get your definition of success. And I know what you say is going to help a lot of people. So what is your definition, or how do you find success?
I define success as overcoming obstacles that either you put in front of you yourself or other people place in front of you, and using it to do the unimaginable. I think that a lot of times we become successful by mistake, but then there's times where the work we put in puts us in position to, just shine and glow. Right. Like if you're not prepared for it, then it won't be sustainable. But if you put in the work, like I have over these years, then it's almost like it's destined to happen. Absolutely. In kindergarten, I was given a keychain, and it said "destined for greatness." I held on to that keychain.
Wow.
Because I knew one day I was going to achieve greatness.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome, man. What's your favorite aspect of becoming an entrepreneur?
I think having the freedom to do things your way. Like, I've never been the type that liked a whole lot of orders. You know, because I think creative people we can only maneuver in a world that allows us to free flow. Mm-hmm. If we're in a situation where it's mundane and you have to do the same thing every day, it just becomes unbearable.
Right.
So I think just that the freedom to go as I please, create as I please, do it when I feel like doing it. Because I'm a morning person. Right. So a lot of times, like by 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, I've already accomplished a lot before people have even gotten out of bed.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, I just like that freedom to do things the way I want to do it and not have to ask permission.
Right. Absolutely, man. With GOB Radio and Stop, Look, and Listen, what is your company's goal? And within that, what's unique about GOB Radio other than outside of all these other radios? Okay.
The company's goal is to continue to bring content that is innovative, that can elicit all types of emotions. Like my goal when I create, especially for the Good Old Boys radio show, in a 2-hour show, I want to make you laugh. I want to make you think. I want to make you cry. And I want to make you smile. If I accomplish that in a 2-hour show, then I feel like job well done.
Absolutely.
So, and to use all of my personal experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah. Like I say, I'm transparent.
Right.
So if something has happened in my life, chances are I've figured out a way to create a show off of it.
Absolutely.
I don't throw people under the bus per se, but I find a way to, create off of it, and sometimes it's therapeutic.
Right.
Not only to me, but for others.
And absolutely, man. It's very therapeutic.
Yeah.
You talked earlier about interviewing some of the stars and where you kind of saw or the vision you all had when you were with Mario years ago. But with GOB Radio, and if I missed it, I apologize, but how do you plan on growing or scaling GOB Radio and Stop, Look, and Listen?
And it's, with me, there's never one set way. It's almost like Jay-Z said, he drove into the fork in the road and went straight. Like, I'm the type, with everything I do, I like to have options.
Right.
So if I feel like there's a chance that it benefits the brand, then I'm going to try it. Mm-hmm. If that means doing a Winthrop edition of Stop, Look, and Listen, that could be beneficial. It might not be beneficial long term. If it's doing a triangle version of Stop, Look, and Listen, cool. If it's producing a show for a nonprofit organization, then I'll do that. But I think having that flexibility and mobility to put yourself in as many spaces as possible and to see what catches on, that's usually my approach to it. Even with the position that I'm about to start with Postman in their production realm, working on the second season of their podcast, Breaking Changes, I think that's going to open a lot of doors, because that's going to be going into the tech space.
Right.
So yeah, I listen to music all day and I love music. I can interview musicians all day, but I feel like that's not showing growth for me personally. I want to be challenged. Right. So yeah, that's why I interviewed Charles F. Bolden, the astronaut. I interviewed Felicia Rashad. I interviewed Cambrell Garvin. I go into different spaces, politics, entrepreneurship, sports, kind of,
Right.
media. Like I'm not afraid to interview anybody, and I think it paid dividends. You know, the fact that I will challenge myself instead of, interviewing within my comfort level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of people don't want to be challenged.
Right.
They don't want to challenge themselves. They're afraid. If they come up, some people I know, possibly if they were going to interview someone, say, such as big as Will Smith or something, they might be intimidated by the questions they may ask him or maybe the answer he may give. But you can't be like that. You got to go for it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't sit back and be like, oh, I'm too scared to do that. And with your energy and your drive and the spirit that you have that I'm hearing from you, you have all of that, and that's really going to help a lot of people by seeing that through you. You know what I'm saying? They're going to live through you, and hopefully they'll get their butts off the couch, like I mentioned earlier, and just get out there and do it.
Right.
Just do it.
Yeah. I mean, because there's 24 hours in a day. You only have to be at your job 8. So what are you doing with the rest of your day?
Exactly. You can't be sleeping.
Are you on Facebook getting in everybody else's business?
Exactly.
Are you at the club or the bar? Like, what are you doing with the other 16? Exactly. I sleep maybe 5 hours a day. So that gives me 11 hours to do whatever I want and build a legacy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can't sit around and waste your time.
Right.
You just can't do that. So for the viewers out there, and you've given a lot of information, but obviously I want to turn this back into you to help your show succeed and to grow as much as possible. How do the viewers get in contact with you? How do they reach you if they wanted to be a part of your show? How does that process work? Do you reach out to them first, or can someone just call you and just say, hey man, I want to be on your show? How does that work?
It's been all of the above. I guess because my background in television and sitting in production meetings those years, I know how to find a story or find something that is relevant. So that's a skill that I'm sure a lot of people lack that are trying to get into the field. But yeah, I can just get on Facebook and in 5 minutes, I can find 2 or 3 interesting people and then reach out to them. Or if I subscribe to newsletters in various capacities. So I can look through newsletters. I can listen to other podcasts. Some people reach out to me, make suggestions. Some people reach out to me themselves. Some of them indirectly do it. Like earlier today, this rapper out of the Triangle area, Durham, who I've known, he just started sending me new music from his album. So I was like, C, do you want to do an interview? So he's like, yeah. So we'll be doing that on Thursday.
Wow.
So yeah, sometimes they'll reach out to me. Sometimes, like with Reggie connected us, yeah. Reggie Venning.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll make suggestions. I take on all comers as long as it makes sense for my show.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to interview someone that I don't feel brings any value to my show because we've been friends for 20 years. No, like I have the decision to decline if I feel the need to decline.
Absolutely, because you can't just bring anyone on your show.
Yeah, because otherwise it's going to devalue my product.
Absolutely, and I'm so glad you said that, man.
It's hard for people to understand that. They think, oh, I started a hat company.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, build up your hat company first.
Exactly.
And, make it to the point where we're both benefiting off of your appearance on my show and not only you getting a slight buzz.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying. Everybody expects you to do for them, but they don't want to do anything for you.
Absolutely. So how do you market or advertise your business?
Okay. So you can find us GOB Radio Network on Facebook, Instagram. We have a YouTube channel, GOB Radio Network TV. Our website is www.gobradionetwork.com. If you have any questions, You can hit us up on any one of those social media platforms or our website. My email address is LeTroy, LeTroyg @gmail.com. I get back to you as soon as possible. You can check us out on all the streaming platforms: Spotify, iHeart, Apple, Stitcher. We have 5 shows out currently. Stop, Look, and Listen on Fridays. Wafiq Zarif Unleashed on Saturdays. Giant Robot Radio on Sunday. On Wednesday, we have the Unemployment Line. And Thursday, we have Throw Up Tackle.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. And I know people are going to be reaching out to you after hearing all that, man. So thank you so much for giving that information.
All right, no doubt.
I know I've taken up a little bit of your time.
No, that's all good. I'm here.
But I really want to thank you, man. Like I said, I love the energy that you brought to the show, the advice that you've given, all of the words that you said. I know for a fact it's going to help some people out there that's watching. So again, thank you so much for having me come up here to interview you, to be on my show. It's been great for me, man.
No, I enjoyed it, Joe, man. I love the setup. These walls look kind of familiar. I'm not sure if it's we at my house or something. Yeah. I don't know. So yeah, I enjoyed it. This was fun, man. We're gonna have to do it again.
Oh,
maybe
absolutely.
Turn in the tables where I'm interviewing you.
Oh, absolutely. I'm down with it, man. So thank you again, man.
All right. Pleasure.